It began, as it often does, with something small. A number. A time. A pattern that shouldn't have meant anything, but somehow did. For Emily, it was 11:11. It first appeared on her phone screen one restless night when sleep refused to come. She thought nothing of it. A silly internet meme. Make a wish. Move on. The second time, it came stamped on her coffee receipt, $11.11. Odd, but not life-changing. The third time, it was printed on her train ticket. As she boarded, she felt that strange tightening in her chest, not fear, not excitement, but an alertness, as though something had just tapped her on the shoulder. She sat by the window and let the countryside roll by in green blurs, but her mind kept circling back to that number. This week had been different. She'd run into a friend she hadn't seen in years, someone she had just been thinking about. She'd heard a song on the radio that perfectly mirrored her unspoken thoughts. She'd overheard a stranger's comment that seemed to answer a question she hadn't dared speak aloud. It felt like the air itself was leaning toward her, whispering, "Pay attention." She didn't know it yet, but she was standing at the threshold of a world most people only glimpse and dismiss. A world where reality is not silent, but alive. A world where the universe does not shout, but whispers. This is the world of synchronicity. Carl Jung, psychiatrist, mystic, and bridge between psychology and spirituality, was the first to give it a name, synchronicity. He defined it as a meaningful coincidence of two or more events, where something other than chance is involved. But Jung's definition was more than academic. He had lived it. One of his patients, a deeply rational woman, had told him about a dream in which she received a golden scarab, a beetle sacred in Egyptian myth, symbolizing transformation and rebirth. As she spoke, there was a soft tapping at the window. Jung opened it, and in flew a beetle, an uncommon scarab-like insect for that part of the world. In that moment, the woman's rigid worldview cracked. She felt the invisible net connecting inner thought to outer event. Jung saw this as the universe's way of bypassing logic, reaching directly into the soul. You see, synchronicity is not the same as coincidence. Coincidence is just two rivers crossing by accident. Synchronicity is when those rivers meet because you, somehow, were meant to drink from that place. We often ask, if life has a message for me, why not speak it plainly? Why hide it in patterns, numbers, dreams, or strangers' words? Because transformation doesn't happen when truth is handed to us. It happens when we discover it. Ancient Greeks had a word for the moment truth pierces the ordinary, kairos. Not clock time, but sacred time, the right moment when the divine brushes against the human. In Taoism, there is Wu Wei, a way of living so in tune with the flow of reality that life begins to arrange itself around you. In both, meaning is not given, it's found. And in the finding, we are changed. Synchronicity is that process. It's not a billboard in the sky. It's a feather at your feet. A song at the right moment. A stranger's words that feel like they've been traveling for centuries just to reach you. From the scientific side, the brain is a pattern-making machine. This is apophenia, seeing connections where none objectively exist. It's why gamblers see winning streaks in random numbers, or why you see shapes in clouds. But here's where things become interesting. Quantum physics, our most precise science, shows that the act of observation changes the outcome of events. The double-slit experiment revealed that particles act differently when they are watched. This means consciousness is not separate from reality, it is woven into it. So yes, perhaps the brain is looking for patterns. But what if, at certain moments, the patterns are also looking for you? Mirrors of the inner world. Jung believed that synchronicity often mirrors your inner state. If you are grieving, Life may show you signs of renewal, a seed sprouting in the crack of a pavement. If you are longing for freedom, perhaps you see open doors, birds in flight, or strangers telling stories of escape. In Indian philosophy, there is a saying, Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmand, as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. Your thoughts and emotions are the tuning fork. The events you notice are the other forks humming in resonance. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. And sometimes, that reflection speaks back. Across cultures and time, synchronicity is not new. Every ancient culture had its way of honoring these moments. The Egyptians believed dreams carried messages from the gods, and waking life mirrored them. The Norse saw omens in ravens, believing they were the eyes of Odin, bringing news from afar. The indigenous peoples of North America see spirit animals as guides, their sudden appearance marking a lesson or protection. In Buddhism, sudden meaningful events are seen as karmic ripening, the fruit of seeds planted long ago. These cultures didn't debate whether synchronicity was real. They asked instead, what is it telling me? The skeptic's shadow. Skeptics argue that we remember hits and forget misses. This is the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, when you learn a new word and suddenly hear it everywhere. They are right, partially. But here's the deeper question. Why does a certain thing catch your attention in the first place? Why that word? Why that number? Why that song? Perhaps attention is not random. Perhaps it is the soul tugging at your awareness, steering you toward something it knows you need. Emily began to follow her signs. She kept a notebook, writing down every small coincidence. Soon, patterns emerged. Her sightings weren't random. They formed a path. That path led her to a spiritual retreat she had never planned to attend. There, she met the person who would help her heal a wound she'd carried for years. History holds bigger examples. Steve Jobs credited a random calligraphy class, taken by chance, with inspiring the design of Apple computers. Albert Einstein once said, "Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." Synchronicity is a language, and like all languages, it can be learned. Pay attention, not with paranoia, but with curiosity. Record them, writing turns fleeting moments into a visible pattern. Ask questions. When something happens, ask, what does this remind me of? What does it make me feel? Respond. If a sign points toward an action, take it. Signs feed on participation. The more you engage, the more frequent and more personal these moments become. Synchronicity will never shout. It will always arrive quietly through a stranger's smile, a page falling open to the right paragraph, a number glowing on a clock. You can ignore it. Many do. But if you choose to listen, you may discover that life is not a series of accidents, but a living conversation. One where the universe speaks in patterns and poetry, and you, finally, begin to speak back.